Hey guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Here we are. It's Tuesday, February 21st, 2017. And let's get right into some of the economic factors that will be playing a part into the price of precious metals. Now, what we're facing is there is a massive gasoline buying slowdown. By drivers, they're buying less at filling stations. And it's emerging as one of the biggest threats to this year-long oil price rally. U.S. gasoline consumption plummeted last month, nearly matching a 15-year low. Government estimates show it fell to as low as 8.2 million barrels a day, averaged over a 4-week period ending January 27th. January sales at the pump, they fell 4.4% compared to a year ago. And that's according to data from the Oil Price Information Service. That has led to a record amount of surplus gasoline. The U.S. Energy Information Administration said Wednesday storage levels swelled last week to 259 million barrels, the highest in records dating back to 1990. And so this is a major crisis that is developing. Number one, as we see that inflation has outdone their projections of 2%. We have inflation setting in on American households at 3%. And it's unavoidable at this point. The inflation is going to continue to rise until these lower wages that now the American workers are being paid, combined with the devalued dollar, is no longer able to purchase them anything. And you end up renting your life and working like slaves in China. It was a poor January by any stretch of the imagination for gasoline. And what we're seeing, this drop-off in demand, it would be like any other outside of a recession, according to Goldman Sachs. So there is no other time in which a drop for demand of gasoline would ever take place on this level, except we are in a recession. It's leaving many analysts befuddled. Maybe it's because they're watching the NBC, ABC. They're just confused. Maybe they're watching Fox Business Channel. They're even beginning to question the data. Others attribute the decline to storms or poor weather. Drivers may be put off by maybe the pump prices, 31% higher than a year ago. Maybe the massive inflation that is setting in on the price of gasoline. The backdoor robbery that is now beginning to come home as a result of printing this money, and also countries beginning to abandon the dollar. These dollars are coming home. Kind of ruins your whole year, potentially. Demand growth appears to be the riskiest element of the oil equation in 2017, and the rally could pause until the driving season. And what we're seeing is it's not only ending there. Saudi Arabia just breaks records on oil exports and output for the year. So we saw crude exports average 7.65 million barrels a day. And so the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, their oil output is now averaged to 10.46 million barrels a day. Saudi Arabia boosted oil exports and produced last year the highest monthly averages on record as the global crude market endured oversupply. So not only is no one buying the gasoline because they cannot afford it, but now there also is too much supply. Exports climbed to 7.65 million barrels a day on average last year. And that's from 7.39 million barrels a day a year earlier. So what we're seeing is this is going to cause massive waves around the world and instability. And so a billion barrels, they're showing they're meeting stagnant oil prices. For the first time ever, hedge funds now also, and this is the crazy part, are holding more than 1 billion barrels of bets that crude oil prices will rally. So these money from the hedge funds are moving into oil, expecting price rallies. Money managers last week extended their faith in OPEC-led supply cuts, while supply is increasing and demand has dropped significantly. So what we're seeing is a perfect storm brewing. It's increasing outright long positions in the global benchmark Brent and its U.S. counterpart, West Texas Intermediate, to a fresh record. Speculators are on hold, though, with futures in New York stuck in the tightest range in 13 years, and Brent implied volatility the lowest in more than 2 years. And so this is what they're saying, that volatility is not normally this low, and yet we see a massive trouble brewing under the surface as a result of this inflation that has taken place in the United States. So this is bringing on a world economic crisis, and it's something that will only take place in the event that there is a recession taking place, is what Goldman and Sachs says, if they know a thing or two about finance. And so what we are watching is the beginning of hyperinflation setting in. Is this money coming home? The effects that have already taken place. It is irreversible what has happened from the moment that they printed that money and used quantitative easing, and during a time where there's no money velocity, where money is not being spent. And so this money has been sitting off to the sidelines. And now that consumers somehow are getting confident, banks are lending and to people without even credit to pay it. So this money is making its way into the system to the point where they've even cut off quantitative easing. And so this money's making its way into the system, and this inflation is going to be too high for them to be able to battle down now. As soon as they raise the interest rates, which they have to combat this, then it's going to bring this whole house of cards down. It's good to take steps now to protect yourself. All right, thank you guys for joining me here on the Silver Report. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share the videos, get the word out. The only way is to awaken the masses. And I thank you guys so much for joining me here. And as always, stay safe.